Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 37 of the Locker Room Live podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Frank, here as usual with my brothers, my boys, Logan Kuvo, Owen Baker. A lot to talk about, a lot going on in hockey. Let's kick it off.
I can't complain. I'm on spring break right now, and the boys are getting ready for playoffs. So time off school's been nice. Everything in hockey's just been amazing to see, and just keeping up with that, and then back on the grind and hoping for a victory this weekend to keep the season alive, and things have been good.
Yeah, I mean, me and Frankie were talking about it. Let's play Hockey Expo. The week has arrived. The week we've been talking about for a very long time, been prepping for a very long time. Our mugs, our company separately, Best Damn Tape and Buddy Hockey Club, will be there right next to each other in the same row, sharing the space. Come see the boys. Come see us. If you're in Minnesota for the state tournament, come stop by, come say hi. We would love to see you, but it's just been full go. Me and Frankie both prepping for that. And I have a little bit of relaxation inbound here soon, but we'll get there when I get to go to the Sunshine State. No, that's not what it's called, but Arizona with Frank for my spring break here soon. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, boys. Life is slowly piecing itself back together for myself, as you guys know, and you can hear my voice. Vegas voice got me. Vegas got me. Went to play a little tourney with my boys. The outcome of the ice didn't really go the way that we wanted to, but boys, Vegas, it takes years off your life. Like I say it all the time, but I feel it every time. My life expectancy has reduced dramatically by coming to this place. It's just, you guys know, anybody that's been to Vegas, it's a complete overload, sensory overload on all levels, left, right. It's a mess, but it's fun as hell. So I don't regret it. I'm going to continuously punish myself and go there, but it was a fun weekend. Hanging with the boys, playing a little hockey. Can't say enough of how much fun I had there. But like Logan said, let's play hockey. We're heading there this week. Such an amazing event. The high school hockey tournament. I'm just excited to just take in that atmosphere. Nothing beats the energy in that building, just on all levels, right? The parents, the players. The first 2 days when everybody's in that tournament,
It's nuts.
or the first day, it's so fun. Because not to mention the fact that they're selling out the Xcel Energy Center 20,000 strong every game, but it's literally to see the kids coming in, and it's almost like minor hockey just amplified on a level that's through the roof, because as soon as another 20,000 comes out, another 20,000 comes in. So Minnesota hockey, the community and everything that brings, it's just, we're honored to be part of it. And to that, parlaying, as you guys have been seeing it, super honored to be releasing a collab that we're doing with the USHL, Buddy Hockey Club and the USHL. I can't say enough, especially for something like this.
Oh, baby.
I'm an alumni of the league. It's crazy when you think about life, the way it works itself out. If I thought 20 years ago, yes, that's right, I played in the league 20 years ago, that I would have been doing a collab with the USHL, I could say you were lying, but that just shows you life has so many twists and turns, and where we are today is exactly where we're supposed to be. So more information, we're going to be putting it on our socials. We're going to have a lot more contests and things, but super honored. Special shout out, Matt McGreevy, Glenn Efron, commissioner of the USHL, for this amazing opportunity. And again, just being able to be part of the growth of this amazing league and the community. Looking forward to it and can't wait.
And I just want to say, last thing, Frankie, as a close friend to you, is awesome because I played a part in bringing you back to the USHL. So it brings me a lot of happiness to see it, and just to see where you felt about the league and how your hockey career ended to when we started this thing to now where we are now. So it's wonderful, and biggest congrats, brother. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. Of course, because I also wanted a ring in the league too. So, I don't know if I've ever
Never mind. Cut it. We're cutting that. Well, in light of our last amazing topic that we were just talking about in our life catch-up, the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. The bleach hair are already among us. You see all of the skate lineups, the looks at the camera, everything. I love it every year. I watch the Minnesota State Hockey hair video every year. But boys, Class A, Class AA, the premier divisions, and you have some interesting names who sneak in here in the A block. Dodge County, Chisholm. Obviously, you have Matamedi, who's amazing. You got Warroad, who's amazing. Mankato West as well. Those are just some of the names. But on the AA, I need to hear your guys' opinion. Me and Bakes played against them because they're considered an academy, but they play in the same reigns as the AA. But Gentry Academy is in the AA state tournament, which is, amazing for them, playing Minnetonka, the big dogs, 1 seed. And then you have names such as Edina, Andover, former state champions, Moorhead. So we always know that the crop of talent is amazing, and to experience it firsthand, like Frankie said, it's like a hockey bucket list thing that everyone who is a hockey fan should go there at least once, just to experience everything that he said, the atmosphere, the people, the kids, the fans. It's just phenomenal. And to see these players, highlighted on this big stage is even better.
I've actually gotten the privilege to play with lots of guys who went through the high school system from Minnesota growing up. And it's amazing. It's everything these guys dream about. It's just so amazing that they can get to go out there and play at this stage. And you get those core teams every year. But to see some of those new schools in it's awesome. And this might be one of their only cracks at it for a few years. So I don't know who's going to win, but I just know that it's going to be cinema as always, and can't wait to watch.
You know what I love about Minnesota hockey is that you grow up wanting a lot when you're a hockey career, right? It's really what's on the TV, what's in the hockey community, what team you play for. It's the same thing in Canada, right? Everybody in Canada wants to play in the OHL, wants to play Major Junior. But in Minnesota, the biggest honor that you can really have is to play for your high school at the Minnesota High School Hockey Tournament. So I love the parity. I love to see the shifts up and down. Of course, you're going to have the powerhouses that are always there, but I love those little guys that there's those years where the right group comes in, they sneak in, and they're going to play a little bit of an upset. So it just adds to the whole storybook ending of how this tournament always ends. Like we were just talking about before we got on the air. Can't ever forget last year, Moorhead, Edina, Mason West scores a hat trick in the first period. I was like, is that good? So this kid's just, I can't wait for the storylines. I can't wait for those moments that will be embedded in everybody's brain. And let's be honest, guys, for a lot of people, this tournament is it. Whatever they choose to do after this point, their hockey road and their hockey journey will take them. But for a lot of them too, this is like they won. This is it. To getting here is a win for them. So I think it's awesome. And I can't wait to take it all in. Guys, as you guys already know, this is a Minnesota high school hockey tournament podcast intro, which we're going to dive a little bit deeper. But no, in all honesty, I wanted to talk about something that is the ultimate debate, right, guys? Minnesota hockey versus Michigan hockey. And we have talked to all large group of players. We've played with amazing players. You guys are alumni, Logan of Michigan, and also Bakes played in Michigan. On top of that as well, Minnesota high school hockey, right? The debate here is there's two different roads, right, guys? Two very different roads, but in order for talent and overall production into the higher levels, the proof does not lie. You think about high school hockey in Minnesota. We just talked about it. It's your dream to play for your high school. It's your dream to put that jersey on for your town and represent yourself. But also, let's talk about the economics. Being able to be part of your high school is a lot more feasible financially in Minnesota. That system is definitely more attainable for a lot of different families. And let's be honest, and we've talked about it all the time, there's no secret. Hockey is a very expensive sport. My point of view is that it keeps a lot of guys playing because they can. You're playing with your friends. You're being able to go to high school and really go up the ranks with that same group of guys. So that brotherhood that you're building with those guys, it's unmatched. So you see this excitement in the high school tournament, these guys having fun together. A lot of these guys have been together since probably near birth. So from the financial level, I love it. And the numbers don't lie. Representation on the higher levels, Minnesota still holds the keys. We were just looking up, the USHL is the most active players from Minnesota versus Michigan currently, and by a landslide. So in comparison to that, you have Michigan. Michigan hockey has amazing programs, but let's be honest, there's a lot that has to be fulfilled in order to play in Michigan. Bakes is from Michigan, so that's a little bit of a story. Logan billeted, and that's the billeting system. And a lot of families taking their sons, daughters, playing in Michigan because of thoughts and dreams to play at a higher level. Let's really not graze over the fact that it is very expensive. The family sacrifice. Our amazing hockey parents, we say it all the time, but what they do for kids to play in Michigan, to even have an opportunity to really gain that exposure for the next level, it's a completely different system. So I'm interested to get into this topic because you guys are both alumni. So dive a little bit deeper into this, guys.
Of course, Minnesota high school hockey is phenomenal, the cream of the crop people. But I will say that the most successful, high school or school in Minnesota is a prep school. And it is a boarding academy, Shattuck St. Mary's, being that, I won't say it's the same thing as Michigan because it's not, you're at a boarding school, but it's definitely that same thing. And of course, a lot of talented players come in, but Minnesota has been doing that and pulling them in. And Shattuck has been, they don't play in the state tournament. They play against me and Bakes and all of us. So it's very interesting to have that in there too. It's always been very interesting to me to see how that is separated from everyone else. They don't play in the AA championships, which it would be an amazing game if they did, which I always thought they should. But into Michigan, we were talking about it before we got on air. And what you said, Frankie, is so right. Like, you go there to the dreams of the bigger things after, and they set you on the path to be a pro. Bakes can definitely speak to it so much better than me, but there too, it's a very weird, different culture. Jumping around from teams, moving from teams. Bakes only moved teams, I think, once, but I know many guys who played for almost every program in Detroit and Michigan be that fact. So it's a very interesting thing. And there's usually 2, maybe 3 stacked teams that have, multiple NHL draft picks come out of their NTDP guys. But that lower half, and when I was on Bell Tire, we were like that 4 seed behind, those top 3 big dogs of Honey Baked, CompuWare, and I think it was Fox Motors that year, actually. So it changes all the time. It's just a very interesting system that definitely requires a lot of sacrifice and a lot of money compared to being able to grow up in an amazing community and with your friends that you've played with your whole life and have amazing chemistry with. It's definitely more of a team route in Minnesota and the solo route in Michigan.
There's just so many moving parts to me, and as you guys touched on, they're just completely unique in their own ways. I will say there's a couple bias factors is in the fact that with Michigan AAA, there's so many people that they recruit outside of the fact of actually growing up in Michigan. And the difference with Minnesota is playing high school, you're playing with, multiple different birth years. And in AAA, you grow up with that birth year and you stay with that birth year. There's no playing up. It's kind of like a more, I don't want to say accelerated path, but in Michigan AAA, when you hit that 16U, 18s is good, but it's not as talented as, say, Minnesota high school. So that's why I think that a lot of those guys are able to excel and develop their game because, let's face it, I played with those guys. It's very, very hard for them to leave their high school before they graduate their senior year. They want to finish their 4 years. They're prideful. They grew up. That's what they want. They want to play for their school. And I think a series between birth years or just in general of a Minnesota, Michigan would be absolutely phenomenal in cinema. And it's just, I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but they're both amazing feeder systems into all levels of hockey.
What I think is so interesting, guys, in this social media era, there's a couple positives that I see in it. One, people are really getting to see the other side of Minnesota high school hockey. And when I say that, you're talking about being able to see teams, clips within those games to see the talent level. Because, and this is me, I played prep school in Canada and then went to the USHL, but Detroit, Michigan hockey has always had the sexy factor. There's nothing beats Caesars, CompuWare, Bell Tire. There's a mystique behind Michigan hockey that carries far beyond the doors that are in the Michigan Hockey League you go into. But I think a lot of that is because of the fact that you're able to see them when they compete at the national championship and being able to be covered on that sense. So it's interesting because from a talent perspective, Minnesota is the proof of them building players to the next level is more than Michigan. But if you look at just on the surface with the youth and with the people in hockey, I can guarantee you more people can probably name more teams in Baja than they could in the Minnesota high schools. So it's interesting. 2 amazing states that are producing amazing talent. I love to see it and I love to talk about it.
So with the state and college hockey winding down, getting into the playoffs before the tournament, just a cool little segment I wanted to bring to you guys, the Hobie Baker Award, as we all know. And it's up for grabs. There could be multiple different winners for this award, but just a unique stat on Gavin McKenna and the state of the first overall pick. For freshman Hobie winners, McKenna has 46 points, and this is a 30-game scale. And the last 3 Hobie winners being Celebrini with 48 points, Fantilli with 52, and Jack Eichel with 50. So as far as the goals side, he's a little down, but points, he's right up there. And I just kind of want to know your guys' thoughts. Did he turn things around, and is this piecing together how we thought it would?
The double champ does what he wants. That's all I can say. Oh my goodness. Gavin McKenna, I was not familiar with your game. After the incident that the whole hockey world erupted over, he has been on a heater. He has been on an absolute heater, 10-point weekend in 2 games. That's insanity. Someone lock this man up. No, but seriously though, It's awesome to see him blossom into this because he was struggling in the beginning a little bit, and to see him and kind of shut people up after all that is really, really cool. And then just to be in the running with some of those names and, first overall picks, second overall picks, it's definitely a feat in itself, especially as a true freshman.
Yeah, guys, we talked about this actually when I actually saw him play in his first game. I told you guys about that at ASU. You could tell it was an adjustment period. Everybody knew it. College hockey right now is men. A lot of them are men. It's the regimented program of these guys are 100% ready for battle. Gavin McKenna, you could tell physically just needed to catch up. Well, he caught up. Let me tell you that. Say what you will about the incident and, all the funny puns and different things like that. But like anything, right, guys, it's just adjustment. It's adjustment in a lot of different things. College life, training, confidence at that level to make plays, getting used to game speed. It's all of the stuff that us as players have to acclimate whenever you make those major jumps. But I think for him, guys like that carry a heavier weight than other players. Top picks, the fact that you're being covered and being able to hold all these expectations at a young age, those are things that we would never know, except for Bakes, because you were wagging when you were young, Bakes. But
facts.
Nowhere near that stage.
But just, what I'm saying, with some expectations on your shoulders. And us as people, we are pleasers. Whether people want to admit it or not, you want to be able to please. And a lot of times that can also affect your confidence and a lot of different dips in your game. So for him to push through, maybe he does have that it factor that everybody was kind of questioning at the beginning, because we are in media. He starts off slow, then everybody jumps on the back. He's overrated. He's this, he's that. It's the era we live in, and we all do it because we're in media also. But I just admire him for kind of stepping through a lot of the adversity to really just say, hey, I'm going to let my game speak for itself. And I can tell you one thing, he's going to be Conor McGregor and up to the draft this year, like an absolute unit. But no, seriously, it's awesome to see him kind of have this turnaround end of the season. And just a lot of people say, you know what? There was a lot of truth to him coming in the season with as high as he was. Guys, we did it. The next interview, gold medalist Kirsten Sims from the gold medal winning USA women's hockey team. Boys, what an interview. Being able to chat not only about the ultimate prize of winning the gold medal at the last Olympics, but also just her journey as a whole. She's close to Bakes, be able to come on and just talk about her experience, about her journey and growing up and everything that she did, playing with guys, her whole career, playing at Wisconsin, being clutch in clutch moments. I'm not going to ruin it, but this was my absolute favorite interview from the sense that, again, the hockey journey, everything that we go through, every moment that we go through, and for it to culminate into a gold medal and for the success she's had in her career, it's amazing.
Brother, you said it. We were just watching them on the TV. We were watching all of them, every single Olympic athlete on the TV just this past week. It's very surreal. Just from a little LRL's perspective, this is a year into doing this, and we just talked to the champion of the world. Thank you so much for coming on, first and foremost, and telling us about your journey. We're so excited to see what you do with the rest of your career.
This is kind of a full circle moment for me, knowing Kirsten for as long as I have. And I've been training with her since we were kids from the beginning. And to be able to maintain that relationship, and she really was able to set out to everything that she put her mind to. The way she is, you'll see, she says this stuff and, she puts it into perspective and was able to accomplish everything she's wanted and much more thus far. And it's just the beginning. She's going to be going pro next year. She's in her last year at Wisconsin, looking to win a third national championship. So I'll just let you guys listen in and have the story speak for itself. But it was just incredible.
We say it all the time with these amazing players, and been blessed to have a lot of amazing players on. That it factor, right, guys? Being able to not only think it, but just be able to put it into action. And it was never a question to these people when they are able to succeed and have these amazing achievements in their career. And it's never enough. And I can tell you, true winners like this, it's never enough. And we talked about it in the interview, and we all believe it. She's going to be an influential figure in the growth of the game of women's hockey. And we're so honored that she was able to join us.
Put your headphones in. Enjoy.
Without further ado, Kirsten Sims. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Locker Room Life podcast. Honored to be joined by our guest today, current Wisconsin Badger and Olympic gold medalist Kirsten Sims. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, obviously, so much to talk about, but we always like to start this by your hockey journey. Where did it all start with this wonderful game of hockey?
I'm kind of your typical little sister story. So my older brother played and I wanted to do everything he did and I was obsessed with it right as I saw him playing it. And I want to do exactly that. Got on the ice when I was 3.5 years old, learned to skate, and from there I just became obsessed with it. And always wanting to do what my brother did, looking up to him for a long time, and was following him on the ice, playing with him on the pond, like in our backyard and stuff when we were really little, and then going to every skill skate with him and all these other little things. And Baker knows that I was at probably every skill skate possible when I was younger. But like I just said, I just got obsessed with it from a very young age.
Growing up in Detroit, I mean, the hockey market of, the country. How was that like? I know playing for Little Caesars growing up and just going up the ranks through there.
For me, my biggest thing was playing boys hockey for a while. It really helped me like develop as a player as a whole, just because obviously you're playing with guys that are pretty good. And especially in Michigan, the Michigan boys hockey market was really good, especially our birth year. The 2004s got a lot of guys Division One, and then a bunch of NHL guys now as well. So getting to play with and against that from such a young age was huge for me in my development, because I had to like kind of find ways to get around playing against the guys because they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. And so that's kind of where you have to develop a skill set to be able to hang with them a little bit more. By doing that for such a long time, it really helped me when I transitioned into girls. It was a pretty smooth transition, and I was able to go against the older girls pretty early on just because, yeah, they were bigger, they were older, but I was used to doing that. And then my skill set, I just advanced that so much from a young age that when I got into girls, it's pretty useful.
For sure. And after you made the switch over to girls, I noticed you left a little bit to play prep school. What was the decision behind that in your development, and then coming back to Michigan to finish off AAA before heading to college?
The biggest thing on that was knowing that I was going to be able to play up with a bunch of older girls and then a bunch of talented girls. And then as well, it's a good experience to leave home and kind of get used to that before going to college. Obviously, it prepares you for stuff outside of just hockey as well and makes you more independent, which was huge. But from a standpoint of skill-wise and getting better in development, it was huge in the way of like I was competing against girls on the national team with me now, or even like within the Canadian system. I was going against them in practice every single day. So when you're going against some of the best at that age too, especially in the girls world, and you all come together to one school, it's pretty special. And so I did that for 2 years, and I think it really helped my development in a different way of necessarily than not all the skill stuff and the skill work that I tend to do in Michigan and whatnot, but different areas of my game that needed improvement, especially in the girls' game. And then I came home just pretty much strictly because it was COVID at that point, and it was like hit or miss and kind of sticky about if you got it, how much you'd be quarantining, stuff like that. And I just didn't really want to deal with that. So then I just came home and played for Hobie Baker for a year, played up with them, 19U, and then finished off with my own age group at Caesars. And it was kind of a full circle for me because those were all the girls I started doing little selects tournaments with and stuff like that when I was younger. And then to cap it off, my last year of high school at them was pretty sweet.
That's amazing. And we don't want to skim over the fact that you are a friend of our fellow co-host, Owen Baker. Talk about your relationship and kind of, I know you guys skate in the summer and just overall development and how that helps you as well, just in the off season.
I've been playing against him. I don't think I ever played with you, but played against you for however many years I was playing guys. And so when you're playing against the guys, it's a lot tougher. So he witnessed all of that. He witnessed me being the only girl in Michigan really playing AAA and kind of doing that thing. And now it's kind of funny coming back. It's like another full circle thing. I was around him when I was growing up and when I was younger, and then probably didn't see you for around my high school years once I switched over to girls and my first few years of college, and then started doing skill skates again with Romo in the summer. Even now, like, I still get pushed by going with him. Like if he goes first in a drill and I have to keep up with the speed, it is always helping me. Going against guys is the number one way to get better as a girl, especially talented guys, which I'm lucky to have a lot of them in Michigan. It's pretty sweet to be able to come back and get to skate with him in the summer still and still learn and get better from him as well.
And while we're on that topic, a lot of girls don't get to experience the Quebec International Tournament. And you were able to experience that with now 2 guys who were drafted to the NHL on that team. What was that experience like for you? Because I know every boys hockey player loves that experience from a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool too, because now they try and bring like a full girls team every now and then to compete against the guys. But at that point in time, it was girls hockey was still developing, and there was only very few girls playing boys hockey, and especially AAA. And so getting to do that, I mean, I'm pretty sure my team got waxed by a few teams while we were there. But I mean, it was still an awesome experience as a whole. I mean, just getting to play at 12 years old in an environment like that and in a huge building like that was super special. And then we did actually have one upset game that actually screwed us, because then we had to play some nasty, I think it was like Florida Alliance, to get us into the playoff rounds, and no, we got smoked. But I mean, overall, it's such a cool experience, and to get to experience with guys that are now in very high parts of their career is crazy looking back on it. We used to do those the pin trading stuff there, and I probably traded pins with you. I remember Frankie Nazar, traded pins with him, and now he's signed with the Blackhawks, and it's just having an unbelievable career. So it's pretty cool looking back on that, and now it's an oh wow moment, realizing that I was with all of them and got to experience that from a young age, and now where we're at in our careers now.
Yeah, Quebec is such a universal experience that not many people get to experience, but that was one of my favorite tournaments growing up. For a lot of the viewers and those listening that don't know, you went to a hockey school, TPH, which is a well-known hockey branch in Michigan, where you go to school there and you're also able to work on your game every day as much as you want. So what was that decision like, and how did that help you grow your game every day?
Yeah, I think that was another one. I was obsessed with hockey, and especially obsessed when I was younger. And so my brother also went there. And when I saw him go there, I remember nagging my dad about it every day. I was like, I want to go too. But they're like, no, you got to stay in school, be a normal kid, whatever. But I was really pushing with it, and then ended up making the move and got to go. And there, a lot of those high-end 04s and just older guys went to that school. And so getting to skate with them and learn from them every single day too was huge for my development. And I think that's where my skill set really took off, was working with those coaches there, like Brandon Rado, Matt Larkey. I don't know, the list goes on. There's a bunch of those guys, but I think that's where my game really took off, because those are things that guys were just now learning, but guys were always kind of ahead of the game. But in the girls' world, nobody knew what they were teaching. No girl was learning that stuff. And so that's where that really took the next level for me in my skill set. And doing that at such a young age too is huge, because then it just comes muscle memory as you get older, and you can just add to it in little detailed ways rather than having to learn the major things at that point in time. And so going to TPH and continuing to do that in the summer or whenever I get to it was huge for my development as a whole.
That's amazing. And, you make the next important decision is to play college hockey. So take us through the journey, but also that decision. I assume that there was a lot of offers, but take us through why Wisconsin was the choice for you.
Yeah, so actually Wisconsin's been my dream school since I was super young. I always share this story, but I was 6 years old and I saw them playing on something. I don't even know how, because I don't think girls hockey was really streamed very well back then, but I figured it out somehow. And I told my dad, and I was like, I'm going to go to Wisconsin and I'm going to commit here, and that's what I'm doing at age 6. Crazy if you think about it, but I was determined for it, and that's what I wanted. And then it was kind of a no-brainer once I was in the recruitment process, but I was getting recruited. This was before the rule was in place where you have to be a junior or whatever. And so I was actually in 8th grade right as I made the switch from boys to girls. And it was mainly for that reason, because I wanted to commit young. And then obviously guys were starting to hit and stuff and injuries and whatnot. And that's where you kind of start to not fizzle out, but just want to switch what you want to do as a girl hockey player. And so that's when I started to get recruited. And yeah, I had Ohio State and Minnesota and all those guys, and I definitely really looked into it and really saw if I wanted to switch my mind. But the second I stepped on the Wisconsin campus, it was a no-brainer for me. I just fell in love with it. It's unbelievable here. And when you see the crowd that you get to play in front of, even as an 8th grader, it's obviously all you're thinking about is hockey. You're not thinking about schooling or why I'm actually going there. You step on campus at 12 years old and you see 3,000 people filling out a building. I mean, it's pretty sweet for girls hockey, and it's just been unbelievable since, but kind of fell in love with it the second I got on campus and then went through with that commitment.
And how has it been? Probably the most storied program in women's college hockey. You've been a part of blazing that path. What has it been these past few years, and just seeing how amazing you guys are?
Yeah, it's been unreal. And to get to play under and with some of the girls that I've gotten to play with, I think my game's transitioned a lot from what it was when I first came in versus now, because you don't realize what you have to add into your game and in those realms, especially to get to the next level. And so my freshman year was kind of a wake-up call in a way too, and we won my freshman year, which was pretty unbelievable, and then have been in the national championship game since. So when you get to say you get to do that every year with the program, it's pretty cool, because not a lot of teams get to always compete for a national championship. And so that's one of the most special things here. And then aside from that, the atmosphere is unreal. You go to most girl hockey games, and especially in college, and there's fans here and there, but at LeBron every single night, it's completely sold out. And it's just so fun to play in front of. And it's probably the thing I'll miss the most about college hockey. I know in the pro world and everything, they're doing well with that stuff, but our fans here are just so committed, and you like get a relationship with all of them. And I don't know, it's just so special to be able to do that. And that's one thing I'm going to miss the most. But as a whole, it's just being able to always compete for a trophy every year is pretty cool. And to have such a dominant team every single year is so fun to play with and just be around. So
being a two-time national champion, you're in your fourth year and you guys are still in the middle of playoffs right now, but the rivalry between you guys and Ohio State, this has been the third year in a row you guys have faced off in the final. What's that rivalry kind of like? And then you also had one of the craziest stories and moments I've ever seen in a national championship game, taking the penalty shot and scoring for your team. So also kind of talk about what that moment was like too and how it all went down.
First, with the rivalry between us and Ohio, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just been a thing for the last 5 years now, probably even before I was here. Because you always think like Wisconsin, Minnesota, you think that's a rivalry, which it is. Like it's still a border battle. It's still, you get excited for it, but there's just something different about Ohio, and there's just like a different hatred there from both ends when it comes on the ice. And those games are probably the funnest games I ever get to play in. And I mean, when you think Wisconsin now, I think our rival is Ohio rather than the Gophers. They definitely still are, but when you play the same team in the national championship game 3 years in a row and could potentially be a fourth now, that's pretty stupid. So you're bound to kind of hate a team at that point. So yeah, I just think it kind of developed with Ohio getting so good, and they've been so good the last couple of years, and their coach has done a great job there with them. And then it's just such a competitive game when we're out there with them, and it gets gritty and it gets a little murky for girls hockey, but it's the funnest games you get to play all year, whether it's in playoffs or just regular season. They're the most competitive games that you get in college hockey. And then last year, I've talked about this quite a bit, but I still struggle to put into words how it even happened. I mean, the way that we were almost losing our national championship game, and we had one of the craziest records all year. We were just an unbelievable team top to bottom, and we were literally 18 seconds away from losing the national championship, which it was like literally our game to lose pretty much. And I always say that the story of Layla Edwards saw the girl cover the puck in the crease. She came back to the bench and started freaking out and was like, you got to challenge this. Like, you have to. Like, she covered it. Like, I swear to God, like, whatever. Like, was freaking out our coaches. And so they reviewed it, and then obviously it was successful. And yeah, the infamous moment of me putting my hand up and all that stuff really stemmed from, I love shootouts. I love penalty shots. I love my one-on-ones with goalies. I'm sure Baker can attest to that. That's just where I thrive and have fun with. So all the girls were kind of calling on me, being like, you got to do it. Like, you got to do it. Like, this is where you live. You strive for these moments. And so when coach said that, I mean, my arm kind of just went up naturally. Like, it wasn't actually, I don't know how to explain it, but as seen as what it was more like the girls were calling out my name, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And yeah, literally down the line, everybody was just trying to put a smile on my face, because it's like they know when I'm having fun and having a good time. I forget about the pressure of it, because most people in that moment, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to be the person to mess up. Not like you're the reason we lost, but deep down, like, some people would feel like that if you miss that. Whereas me, on the other hand, it's now, this is my opportunity to put the puck in the net and keep us alive, kind of. And I find it fun in that regard. So you can think it was nerve-wracking and there was a ton of pressure on it, which it was, but my team helped that kind of relieve off of me. And then I love pressure and I love the noise and the fans and all that stuff. I was eating up in that moment. So instead of nerves, it was more just excitement, and kind of a confidence came through me when I actually went to take the shot.
Ice cold.
That's amazing. Did you think about the move in your mind before you did it?
So
every time I see the video, I'm just like, ice cold. This is so
I know.
insane.
So I played with this goalie, the goalie on Ohio. I played with her in girls hockey a while ago. So I've shot, like, she's from Michigan. So I've shot on her a million times. She's seen everything I have possible. My freshman year, I think it was, we were in a shootout in a game, and I went to my backhand on her, which I never do. And so I know she's going to think that, like, I think I'm going forehand. So I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going back to my forehand no matter what. And then you just got to have confidence once you have the puck on your stick. Otherwise, you're bound to mess up. So if don't have a little swag with you while you're going in with it, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Obviously, the culmination of playing for Team USA, we all know, and we're going to dive into that part of it. But the first time you put on Team USA, talk about what that meant for you. It's the ultimate honor for a player to throw that jersey on. So that part of the Team USA jersey.
I started within the program when you do the younger stuff, like the U18 stuff. It's like our World Juniors, basically. And so obviously that moment was pretty special when I got to do it then, because it's the first time you really do get to, like, represent your country, but it's at such a young age. And you think that's the highest of highest, but then after that you realize there's a lot more out there, and that you want to make the national team, you want to make the senior team and get to that level, and that it becomes a reality. And so the first time I actually got brought on to senior national team was like a rivalry series my sophomore year. And I was completely unexpected. Like, I had no conversations with them, nothing. I literally scroll my email once and I see an email from USA Hockey or whatever inviting me to a rivalry series, and I was like in utter shock because I had no clue that was going to happen. So for that moment to happen specifically, I remember my jaw was on the floor. I called my dad right away and I was like, holy smokes, like, this is actually happening. Like, I'm actually going to play for the national team. And then first game comes around and you see your jersey in the stall with your name on it and you're actually putting it on for the first time. I mean, it's like a surreal moment. And every time I get to put it on, it's like I have chills. Like, it's not just the first time. Obviously, the first time is extra special, but even walking into the locker room at the Olympics and stuff and realizing that your name's on an Olympic jersey is like pretty cool, and you realize you're living out your dream and stuff. So I mean, it's just been an honor every single time it happens, and there's nothing more special than getting to compete for your country.
I mean, you've won so much. I don't even know where to begin with any of this, but the moment that we've all three of us have been talking about it from an outsider view of the Olympics and everything that went down this year, just give your overall opinion, of course, on the experience, but just how it was, how everything was from, the life there behind the scenes as an athlete at the Olympics, especially a gold medal champion.
I mean, yeah, it was obviously a really cool experience as a whole. You get there and you're thrown into a bit of a blender. You don't really know what you're doing at first when you walk into the village. You're kind of confused, and even our veterans were like, dude, we don't even know what's going on. You just kind of roll with the punches. And so once you get used to it and stuff, you're living like a dorm life, basically. You're living in dorms in the village, but then you're surrounded by a million different athletes from different countries of different sports. And so our section was only speed skating, hockey, and figure skating. So those were the only athletes we really had in there. But it was pretty cool because by the end of the tournament, a lot of the skiers, snowboarders, and all of them came down to our village. So I was meeting all these other countries too, of like one-of-one athletes. Like, there's one athlete there from some small country competing in alpine skiing. You're hanging out with them, meeting them, and like getting to know these people that you would have never expected. And so I think that part's pretty special about it, is that you're walking around every day. And we actually, in the Olympics, it's like you trade pins with people. So you get a bunch of pins. So it's like reminded me of Quebec, actually. So you're walking around, you get cool. Like, I got like a Kenya pin. Like, I traded pins with a guy from Kenya. And like, when do you get to say you get to do that? It's pretty rare that you meet somebody that does a snow sport from Kenya too. So I think that stuff's pretty cool. And then just being around like the other USA athletes, not only getting to be around the NHL guys, which we actually formed a really good relationship with them and they were awesome. It was super cool to be around them, and to actually be like friends with some of them now is like crazy to say. But then also figure skaters and stuff like that. One of the ice dance duo, Evan Bates and Madison Chalk or something like that, they're married and they're incredible and they're super decorated figure skaters. But I sat in the dining hall one day and talked to them for probably like an hour, and they were just asking me a bunch of hockey questions about pro and Wisconsin and all this stuff. So it's pretty sweet when you get to meet all these people that aren't just in your sport, but also from different countries and living out the same dream that you have.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So you guys dominated, obviously leading into the gold medal game, but even nonetheless, heading into the gold medal game, what are you feeling inside? Just on that stage, was it just business as usual for yourself? I know you love these high pressure moments. Take us through your feelings, going into that night.
First getting there, you realize your dream's coming true, that you wanted as such a young kid and that I've always been looking towards. And once I first got there, it was reality struck that I'm actually here. But then once you're stepping on the ice for a gold medal game in the Olympics, I mean, it's extremely, like, you didn't think it'd get much better, and it did, type of thing. And yeah, I mean, obviously the nerves are there, the pressure's there, and that stuff's all there. But at the end of the day, it was just another game. And that's how you have to look at it. Otherwise, you could choke, you could play more nervous, you could play more tense. But it's nice when you have 22 other girls in the same boat as you. And then you have these veterans that are able to kind of bring a calming presence who have been in multiple of these. And then, like you said, we dominated all tournament too. So we had such a confidence in the room and our group. And that even when we were down and stuff, like, everybody had faith that we were going to get one. Nobody was worried that we were going to lose, which is what I think the coolest part is the entire time on the bench, even though there was 2 minutes left before we tied it up, you wouldn't have thought we were like freaking out or anything. Everybody was so calm. Everybody was, no, we're going to get it done. And then it gets done in like the most storybook way, which was Hillary Knight breaking the record for most goals or whatever. So, I mean, to have that happen as well. And then obviously the nasty overtime winner by Megan Keller, who's also from Michigan, which is pretty sweet, was unbelievable. We were referring to her as Kale McCarr, basically, but but using her name is, I don't know. But it was funny because we just danced that defenseman and put it in for us. But there was never a doubt in the room. We got in the locker room for between the third and overtime, and everybody was like, yeah, we got this. Like, we got the most skilled team in the world pretty much. Someone's going to get it done. And then we got Kale McCarr on the back end, basically. Dancing somebody to put the gold medal away. So obviously a different level of hype for a game, but still you gotta walk into it like it's another one.
You guys had such a complete team, only giving up 2 goals the entire tournament and ended up winning gold. But I kind of want to know, how was the group? You grew up idolizing some of these girls, and then now you're on the national stage playing with them. So you guys are a bit of a younger team, but to have that veteran presence, the girls that have been there and won that last gold, what was that kind of like, and how did they kind of lead you guys and show you how it was about?
I think it kind of started whenever you get brought onto the team for the first time. When I got brought in 2.5 years ago, I mean, I would have Hillary Knight walking me around, getting coffee with me, talking to me about some stuff, or like at different world championships would do that. And then Kendall Coyne and all these older girls that have been there for a while, you really get to know them. You really get to learn from them. It starts from a while back, but then once you get there, I think we had the perfect balance of young and older girls. Can't get much better than that, because you got the youthfulness of us and the ones that can joke around a little bit and be a little bit more the funny humor side of things, but then you bring the younger side out of the older girls too. You bring the little kid out of them again, because you can be something to them sometimes, but they love it. And I think it was just the perfect balance for the team to have fun as well. It brought goofiness out of everyone. It brought a lighter side of it, and it just made it fun. And I think that's what was huge for the team, was that you could tell we were having fun every single time we were out there. There's laughing going on, everybody's smiling, everybody's having a good time. There was never a low moment with that group. You were doing well, but even in moments when you're down, there was not a second that you would think we were down. And I think that stems from the veteran presence that we had there and their ability to just stay calm and know that they've been in those moments before, but make us feel like we were ready for those moments, even though it was our first Olympics, just based on the experience we've had in the past years with world championships and everything else. That it might have been Hillary Knight's 5th Olympics, and she obviously has a lot more experience than a lot of us, but she doesn't make you feel like there's any doubt or any reason why you should be nervous or be timid or uncertain in moments like that. And so I just think having her specifically as the veteran president and then as our captain was super special for our group. And I just think she did an incredible job, especially having the balance of the younger and the older girls.
It showed through the screen. I had no doubt in my mind at that point, but I got to know, how was the celebration? How was the celebration after winning? The absolute adrenaline rush, everything from throwing your gloves up in the air to probably spending all night and the next day awake.
I know. I think we were talking about it, and it was after the first night. I think we woke up the next day and we had like some media thing we had to go on, like the Today Show, and everybody's like, yeah, we just got like 2 hours of sleep. We look all banged up. It was hilarious. People got their sunglasses rolling in, even though it's not even sunny out. Oh my God, it was hilarious. Everybody's begging for waters and Gatorades at like the Today Show. It was unreal. From the moment that we won, I mean, I was in pure shock, because that's, like I said, the dream comes true when you make the team and you're there, but the real dream comes true when you're winning the gold medal there. And then to see some of those older girls who, like Hill, like announced it was like her last Olympics or whatever, and for her to break the record and then top it off the gold medal is pretty special and pretty cool to see. And so it was like a little emotional too, because everybody's like, we did it type of thing. It was kind of similar to Wisconsin last year. It was like our goal to lose basically with the way we were playing. And so to be able to cap it off and actually get the job done was pretty surreal. But then you get in the locker room and you're having some fun. And we were in the locker room for probably like 2 or 3 hours after the game, just having a good time. And I remember we were walking, I think the game ended at 10:15. We were walking out of the locker room at like 12:30 or something, getting on a bus, and then headed off to the next place. It was called the Winter House, and it was just for Team USA athletes and families and stuff. So we got to meet our families there and do a whole little cheers to everyone. And then you got to go spend some time with your family, and we were hanging out there for a couple hours. And then the night continued until like 6 a.m. pretty much. And then we were like, oh, we should probably get an hour or two of sleep before the Today Show. It was like the next day started right back up. After the Today Show, then we just kept celebrating. We went to the men's semifinal game, which is pretty cool. And then did some stuff after that, carried it on through the next day. And then it was cool because it's probably the first 3 days were the biggest days of celebrating. And then after the men's teams won, we were at the closing ceremony, and it was like a 3-hour trip there for a 2-hour thing. So it was a lot of travel and whatever, but we got back at 1:30, and our bus for the airport was at 5. And so the men's team's banged up in the dining hall. All of our gold medals, because we brought them to the closing ceremony. We have our medals, the whole men's team's their medals, but they're obviously having a good time, and we're all just in the dining hall, literally like screaming till like 4 a.m., chopping it with them, having a good time. It was crazy to have both of us win, like the men's and women's. It was unbelievable. And so to get to kind of share that with them was super cool. And then you're sitting next to NHL guys and just having a good conversation with them until like 3 and 4 in the morning, and their bus leaves at like 4:15 or something, and all of us are walking out of the dining hall at like 3:50, packing my bags and getting ready for the airport. Meanwhile, they're walking out of the dining hall right to their bus to head out to their next thing. But I think that part was pretty special. And then you got Jack Hughes and Megan Keller were taking pictures and sharing that moment together, getting like the golden goal and whatever, which was pretty cool to see. But I just think it was cool to be able to share that too, the last day that we were there, and got to share a bit with them too.
That's absolutely unreal, because everything that everybody thought was happening. So I'm just everyone living vicariously through you guys was amazing. But I think we, as hockey players, as people, as humans, what did it mean to put a gold medal on? And that's something that's up there with not only a hockey event in life, but it's a life event. And kind of talk about the hard work that you put in, the dedication to put that on. What did that mean for you at that very moment? And I know there was so much excitement, elation at that time, but take us through that one moment of reflection where you're like, this is what it was all for.
I think you realize that everything you've done growing up and I've been continuing to do and in your development was all worth it. Because obviously there's hard days and a lot of athletes have them. You question, is it worth putting in all the work? Is it worth the late nights and the extra skates and the extra workouts and all those things? Is it really worth it? And I mean, I definitely was a little overboard sometimes when I was younger. But at the same time, though, I achieved my dream and achieved the ultimate goal. And so when you realize that and actually look down and you have an Olympic gold medal on, it's truly incredible. And it's so hard to put into words, really, but I think it's just the reflection of realizing everything you've done as a kid and all the sacrifices you make really do pay off. And I think for me too, the coolest part is this one just happened and it was incredibly special, but I'm so pumped for another one too, is the thing. And I want to go again in 4 years. That's my outlook on it now. I'm going to do everything I can to get myself on that roster again in 4 years and win another one, because once you get one, you just want to keep adding to it. It's kind of crazy because it's kind of like a peak of your career winning that, but there's more I can go for, and there's more years I can try and be at. And it just honestly pushes me even more to continue to develop and grow my game and try and earn that again.
You've had such an amazing career thus far, and you were able to set out to do everything that you wanted to do. But the people who were there with you through it all, influential figures, family, who are some of the people that you'd like to shout out that's helped you since you started this journey?
It starts with my parents. They're the ones that paid for everything, all the skill sessions, drove me to everything before I had my license. I mean, they put in whatever I wanted, they were right there for. I mean, they never hesitated. They never questioned it. Yeah, I wanted to skate 3 times a day sometimes, and they were like, okay, you do it, whatever, we'll take you. I mean, without them doing that from literally when I started playing and just driving my obsession for the game, I wouldn't even be close to where I am now. And then obviously my brother is a big one too, because he's been my biggest fan since I was really little. That one doesn't get seen as much because it's not like he's driving me to practices or doing all these things. From such a young age, he was bringing out the hockey nerd in me and would always stay up late watching NHL games with me and trying to teach me little things and all this stuff, and always trying to help me get better and being at all like skill skates with me and trying to teach me new things. He's a huge one that has really helped me. And then all the trainers I've gotten to work with over the years, but I really like to talk about Kenny Brandt, better known as KB Dangles. Yeah. I mean, he started with me when I was 6 years old. That's kind of where my hands really took off, was from working with him, and he's just been a part of my journey since then. Even though I haven't really gotten to skate with him much, though, like he's still checking in, he's still always following my career and everything that's going on. And then Matt Romaninski is another guy that's going to have to get a lot of credit, just because he's been with me since I was really little too. From such a young age, he always likes to brag about it or skates, or he's like, oh, I've been coaching you since you were 6 years old, 7 years old, blah, blah. So got to give credit where credit's due, because he was one of the guys that let me skate with him every single day, twice a day sometimes. So I think those are the two biggest ones. And then TPH, just that program as a whole and those coaches as a whole, Larky and Brandon Arado and all those guys that were working with me at that point in time really kind of skyrocketed my career.
And You've done so much throughout your career, and you still have so much left in the tank, like you said, with the PWHL emergence and all of that. I just have to ask, like, what's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self or someone that wants to be in your shoes where you're at right now?
The biggest thing for me is trust your process and trusting your journey and your path, because everybody's is different. And when I was younger, like, yeah, you might seem like it's a very upward trajectory with my career and stuff, but there has been a lot of bumps in the road, and it's not even necessarily what I may have thought it was going to be when I was 12 years old. Different things have happened. I've had different experiences, and without those experiences, I wouldn't be where I am now. And the experiences I continue to have, I wouldn't be continuing to grow into the player and person that I'm continuing to wanting to become. And so I just think that's the biggest thing, is some people think that their journey or their process should look a certain way. And then if it doesn't, it kind of makes you hesitate or rethink things, but just sticking to it and knowing that everybody's is different, because at the end of the day, if you do stick to it, you can get to your end goal and you can get to where you want to go. That's something that really stuck with me since for a while now, through the different bumps in the road that I've had along my hockey journey.
That's amazing. And I wanted to ask you, because as your success grows and you're going to be a huge part of the next generation of women's hockey as a whole, the women's development system, I wanted to ask you a question, because what are some improvements there that you would like to see, with your younger self, kind of going through the ranks, and some additions on the women's hockey level to help that development process system a little bit better?
Recently, it's been really growing in that sense. Like I said, when I was younger, it was definitely a lot harder to find those things. But since I kind of played boys hockey from when I first started playing, it was easier for me to find those things as a girl, because I was just kind of following around what the guys were doing, or become friends with certain people who were doing certain skates or whatever, and then I'd get invited to them. But as a younger girl too, it's not easy to just kind of mix yourself into those stuff, because you kind of feel like an outcast. But I also feel like girls hockey has grown so much that there's so many more girls who want to get to the next level and just want to play and want to be Division I hockey players or be on the national team at some point in time. So it's crazy, because it's like I look at the younger girls now that are 5-6 years younger than me, and I'm like, where was this skill development when I was that age? I had to dig for that, literally dig for that. Now they're pulling out stuff, and I wasn't figuring that out until I was 16. And I got these 12-year-olds doing some crazy different things. But so, I mean, I think it has come a long way, but continuing in the development of it as a whole, PWHL has done an incredible job with just creating pro hockey for girls, and then they're building and trying to get in game development and player development stuff in that realm. And that's part of it. But I think it's honestly going in the right direction. And then personally, I'm going to be somebody that I'm going to get into skills coaching eventually, and really just work with girls and stuff, and to be able to teach those younger girls the stuff that I wasn't learning until I was 14 or 15, getting to teach them when you're like 10, 11 years old. And I think that'll only help the girls game just continue to get more skilled. That's the beauty of the girls side too, is that there's hitting in the league now in the PWHL, but I think it is such a skilled game on the girls side, and that's where separation is. And that was kind of where the separation was our US team at the Olympics, as we had such a skilled group. And so I think if that side just continues to develop from a younger age, and the girls side, it'll just only become more entertaining.
This interview has been amazing thus far. We like to do a little rapid fire segment, one question each. So for my first one, out of all the teams in the PWHL, who would be the team you'd want to play for the most?
That's a tough
Loaded
one.
question, Baker. Jeez.
I know it's tough, but
Bigs from the top ropes.
Tough, because from a market standpoint, I don't like the East Coast that much. Personally, I'm just not a big East Coast person, but I think Boston would still be pretty cool to play in. Other than that, going out west would be cool. Seattle or Vancouver, I think, could be pretty sweet, just from location standpoint. But then there's rumblings on what the expansion teams could be, and if Detroit gets in the mix, that would be a no-brainer.
that'd be really cool.
Be sick.
If Detroit got it, that would be easy for me to want to go to, hands down. So praying for that to happen. But other than that, I think going to the West Coast would be pretty cool.
Yeah. You're a finely tuned athlete. What's a cheat meal? Your favorite cheat meal that you get, whether it's on a weekend, off weekend, whenever it may be?
Sometimes when I get home from road trips, I'll order Wingstop, get some wings. Typically when we get back late from road trips or whatever, I'll order it.
All right, I need to know. Tina, the stuffed animal from the Olympics. It's been an internet craze. It's viral. Tina and Milo. One, did you see him a lot out at the events? The next thing is, what the heck did you do with the stuffed animal? Where is it? Where's the Tina stuffed animal?
That's too good.
What a pull.
First time I saw Tina, the mascot, was at the men's finals. That's like where your whole focus went. You forgot about the game and you're just staring at the big Tina mascot, bouncing around, bobbing around, yeah. And then you don't expect to get a stuffed animal when you just win a gold medal. So they're handing it out, and we're like, okay, like, this is so like 90% sure I don't know why it's in there, but I think it's in my dry stall at the rink right now. Like, I think I just threw it in there in the mix of all my under gear and my loops and stuff, because when we came back, I was so tired. I just wanted to get everything in the rink. And so I think I literally just threw it in my dry stall, and I haven't grabbed it since. Probably should set that up somewhere. Might need to frame it with the gold medal.
Oh, right. That was a good one, man.
I'm dying.
Oh, it was so
I'm
good.
dying.
That was so good.
And then lastly for me, what's been your favorite thing about Wisconsin outside of hockey?
Wow, that's a good one too. Well, I think here I live by the Capitol, which is pretty cool. So a lot of the people live closer to the rink and stuff, but I live right by downtown. So anything downtown in Madison is super cool to be around. I mean, you get used to it, but you after 4 years, you think it's the same thing. But there's so much down here that you're finding something new every weekend. I'm still finding new places and trying new places. So I think it's fun because on the weekends and stuff, me and my friends will try and find like a new spot to get dinner or something. And so I think that's something that's special about Madison, is that there's one main strip called State Street, but there's so much more than just that too. By the Capitol and whatever, you're always finding new spots. You can't run out of good spots here. So I think that's a cool part of Madison.
I love Madison. What's your favorite rink you've ever played in? Played in a lot of good rinks.
Yeah. Well, aside from LeBron, because LeBron is sick, but I like going to Ritter's pretty cool, which is where the Gophers are. That one's fun to play in. That's mainly because our fans travel well, so they all go there, and so it's basically an entire Badger sellout in a Gopher rink, which is it's not a bad gig to have. So in the national championship game, I'm pretty sure the entire rink was like 3/4 Wisconsin fans, and then there was like one little section of Ohio people. It literally felt like a home game. But actually, St. Thomas's new rink is pretty sweet. They got a new rink. It's sick. It's close to us too. So our fans travel pretty well for those away games, but we play our WCHA playoffs, our next round of that next week there. And so because it's playoffs, we'll pretty much pack it with Wisconsin fans. So I think that place being packed will be sick.
I can't thank you enough for coming on. I think the biggest thing is being able to share your journey, but more importantly is you touched on it. Anything worth striving for and achieving amazing things, it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes self-belief, and there's no secret the success you've received thus far, but I know there's so much ahead in your career going forward, but you're going to be a true influential figure in the next generation of the women's game, and we can't thank you enough for coming on. It was really just those moments of the culmination of in the Olympics is amazing, but just your overall story, and I know you're going to be a huge inspiration for the younger generation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome. This is fun to be on too.
That's our goal. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Good luck this year, and I'm sure I'll see you this summer.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be at Romo Skates again.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for Kirsten joining the show. Like we said, guys, that interview, if you didn't enjoy it, I don't know what else we can do, because that was an amazing one. And for her to be fresh off a gold medal, but also let's be honest, guys, just to talk about what happened to Tina, the stuffed animal. I mean, I was fulfilled. It just is the capper. I had to know what happened to Tina. She was amazing. And like I said, it was such an honor to have her.
Tina is sitting in Kirsten's dry stall, as you all heard. But in all seriousness, as we said in the pre-interview, just, going to be the next great woman hockey player that these girls look up to and really want to model their game after. Like she mentioned in the interview, giving back and being a skills coach and being able to provide the skills that she didn't have at her hands as a kid. So it's just a full circle moment on all levels for Bakes, for us as a platform, obviously for her. We are just so happy about this episode, and thank you again. It was amazing.
Yeah, you guys said it best. And Kirsten, thanks again so much for coming on to listen and hear just truly about how much she loves the game and how she's able to, she just wants to be a part of hockey and just wants to work on her craft every day. And that's what she's been doing and what she's going to continue to do. And we can't wait to see what's next.
Boys, we would not even be able to be doing this, not even a chance, without the support and love of our sponsors. Buddy Hockey Club, Best Damn Tape, Quench Hydration. It's a capper on another amazing episode. We're going to have a lot of content coming up from Minnesota, so strap on, tune in. But in all honesty, we love you. We thank you for always listening, and we appreciate the support. There's been a lot of people with, of course, the amazing people that we've had on the show, and that's another thing that we wanted to say. Thank you so much to all the players, the people that have taken the time to talk to us, because we are just as honored to have you on just as much as we are to represent you. And yeah, I love it, guys.
Love you guys. Love you all. Thank you for listening to our mugs talk every week about all this stuff. It's a dream come true, honestly.
Thank you guys, everyone. Keep staying tuned and don't forget to show some love.